how can we talk about college hoops? And everybody jumping back on the bandwagon now that the NFL season is officially in the rearview mirror. How can we do any of that without our friend Brad Evans of BetMGM tonight and thegamingjuice.com? Brad, how you doing, my friend?
Hola, amigo! I am splendid. I am spectacular because college hoops is a rocking product right now, unlike the NBA.
Yes. The NBA will go through the motions this weekend. And college hoops is just now stepping on the gas with about 3 weeks left in the regular season. So let's do it this way. I think this is a good way to look at it because so many people are now, like I said, jumping back on the bandwagon. They've done nothing but pay attention to football for the last 6 months. And they wake up today, maybe last night. I was flipping through channels last night. I didn't want to watch ice dancing. No offense to ice dancers out there. I didn't want to watch ice dancing. I didn't want to watch two-man luge, which is got some interesting undertones to it. I didn't want to watch the Olympics. There was nothing going on that I wanted to watch Olympic-wise. So I had a feast of college basketball in front of me. Not all of the teams that were playing were great, but there was a UConn Butler game that until the last 6 minutes or so was a little sticky for the Huskies. So let's just look at it from a 50,000-foot view to start, Brad, as people are jumping back in. What have they missed over the last 2 or 3 months as they've been paying attention to football nonstop in the college basketball world?
Yeah, you're missing arguably one of the greatest seasons ever to occur on the college hardwood. And one of the primary reasons why is this is a ballyhoo. This is a storied. This is a legendary freshman class. Everybody's been talking about Darren Peterson. Will the cramps crop up? Has he got another bout of the flu? Is he actually going to play 30 minutes or even 20 minutes or a single minute in a game? But, he's projected to be the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. One of those dynamic diaper dandies, of course, the University of Kansas, Agent Abanta, has had a year for BYU. My guy, Keaton Wagler, from the ILL, continues to tear it up. And you got some other guys, Kingston Flemings from Houston, that team right now knocking the door, potentially grabbing a number 1 seed. And the list goes on and on and on. This is an unbelievable freshman class. And I think really a primary reason why, if you have a thirst, you have a lust for the round ball, you're not getting, that satisfaction watching the pros and the tankathons that are going on right now at that level. You're going to the college game, and according to Front Office Sports, as reported last week, ratings are up 69%. Nice. Year over year in the college sports game. Because, again, I think people who have an appetite for squeezing the orange, they're getting it right now in college. So buckle up, folks. We've got some sensational battles at the Power 4, Power 5 level, and who is going to win in the regular season titles in each of those leagues. And, of course, we're barreling to what I feel is the mother of all events on the sports calendar every year. Sorry, Super Bowl, and it was kind of a sucky one this year anyway. But I think March Madness is going to live up and deliver on all the hype. So welcome back to College Hoops.
Let's start with a team that you talk about hurtling towards the postseason. Arizona was rolling. They lose this week, their first loss of the year, and immediately I pull up a set of power rankings at ESPN.com, and I see them drop behind Michigan. Now, no one's going to argue that Michigan could arguably be the best team in the country, but what kind of dents in the armor did you see from the Wildcats in that loss that give you any reason to worry about them once we get to the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, defensively, it was one of the more lackluster efforts of the entire season, evidenced by the fact the Kansas Jayhawks netted 1.10 points per possession, so well above the D1 average in that category. And I felt that Arizona got beat by their own game, really. Kansas is a team not known to really rev the engine and speed teams up, but that was a point of emphasis. Melvin Council was awesome in that game. Without Darren Peterson on the floor, so was Flory Badunga. Kansas had the size to match to mitigate and thwart some of those interior actions that Arizona typically feasts on against other teams. So That was a kind of an even Steven bout of sorts based on the personnel that was out there. But the one biggest takeaway that I got was, again, Kansas was like, hey, Arizona, we know you like to run. We typically play in a half-court grind, but we're going to press that pedal, step on the gas, beat you at your own game, and Maduga is going to go off in the interior, be a supreme rim protector. Mount Krivas, I think, was mitigated and frustrated often at times. Koa Pete had a very subpar performance across the board, so they got to taste their own medicine a little bit. Not to say that Arizona all of a sudden is going to take a backseat in the NCAA tournament. I mean, they're very much a number one seed. I still have them as the number one of ones. I think the resume overall is slightly better than Michigan's. But of course, as you know, Chris, it all comes down to draw. Who is going to be the path? Who is going to be the road, the Final Four in Indianapolis for this Wildcats club? But, man, as we've seen, stretching back at the beginning of the year in non-conference play, they can hang. They can beat anybody in the country when they're even bringing their B-plus game. Unfortunately, it's more of a B-C-plus performance inside Fog Allen.
Up on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube right now on You Better You Bet, as I got Brad Evans in here from BetMGM tonight talking college hoops, you can see the futures for the national championship winner. Right off the edge of that page, Brad, would be the team that beat Arizona that you just got done talking about. And I've seen Kansas win games multiple different ways. You talked about how they were willing to turn up the tempo the other night against the Wildcats. 16-1 at BetMGM. Is Kansas national championship capable?
Yeah, I think they are. They're certainly in that conversation. I have projected right now as the lowest number 2 seed, the latest edition of the bracket big board, which you can check out for free on my site, thegamingjuice.com. I mean, they're still in a number 1 seed conversation. If somehow, some way they can win out, you look at the rest of the season schedule, and they got a tough road to hoe here upcoming. They got to play at Iowa State inside Hilton Coliseum this Saturday, follow against a very hungry and bubblicious team in Oklahoma State, in Stillwater after that. Cincinnati at home, Houston at home. That's going to be a colossal game. At Arizona, rematch, revenge game. Certainly on the mind for the Wildcats in that one. At Arizona State, then at home against Kansas State, an intrastate rivalry there in the Sunflower State. This team is really impressed me here, and fighting through various ailments, as I mentioned with Darren Peterson. But again, they have a supreme rim protector in Flory Badunga, a guy can get out and get you a double-double, get you 3 to 4 blocks in a game. They have the strong guard play, and guard play, it sounds cliche, but it is indeed everything in the NCAA tournament in a single elimination format. So Kansas right now playing at really a top 10 level. And if they can carry that top 10 momentum into March, they're going to be a very tough out, whether they're on the 1 line, the 2 line, maybe they slide to the 3 line. That is a team you don't want to draw. They have an ample opportunity to blaze the trail of the Final Four and represent in the Circle City.
Brad Evans of BetMGM tonight is with us here on You Better You Bet, getting you primed for the college hoops stretch run here. If you've been knee-deep in football for the last 6 months, check out thegamingjuice.com as well. You can follow Brad on social media, on X in particular, at Noisy Huevos. Brad, I've never asked the origin of Noisy Huevos.
All right, well, I'll give you the backstory here. So I am a wallflower, clearly. Somebody that's rather sheepish in general. When I was in high school, I had a group of friends live about a block away from me. I would step out of my back door and they could hear me down the street. And I show up one day and we're just playing half-court basketball at their place. And they're like, man, you're nothing but a big noise. We heard you up the block. Man, you're loud. Mo Rock. And I'm like, yeah, I am. So that was the origin of Big Noise. The nickname has stuck with me ever since. So I was 14, 15 years old. And then I invented this concept of Team Huevos back in my early days at Yahoo Sports. What huevos are, it's eggs in Spanish, but it has a different meaning as well.
Sure.
A little bit more salacious meaning, so to speak. So when I got let go by Yahoo in 2019, I was once Yahoo Noise. I don't work here anymore. They let me go. I got to change it. So I'm like, Noisy Huevos. That's got a good ring to it. Let's roll with it. So there's your origin story. Nickname of the Big Noise, Team Huevos, smashing together for all of your social media delights.
Every great superhero needs an origin story, Brad, and that's yours. And I absolutely love it. I want to talk about Gonzaga for a second because they were a team that way back in April last year, right after the tournament ended last year, I had a couple people tell me, if you want to get in on an early futures bet for a team that could make a run next year, given the number, go after Gonzaga. Graham Ike coming back, by all means. Now, they had an ugly loss last week to Portland. And I think people thought that would ding them a lot more in the metrics, the net ratings, some of the other numbers that go into the committee's decision on where to place teams. Maybe that's a good thing for Gonzaga if they sneak up as a 4 seed or whatever it may be. Where do they end up sitting when the brackets get released, and how difficult could their path be?
Yeah, look, I'm really torn with this Gonzaga team. Really what to make of them, what their true upside, overall identity is right now. Still reeling from that loss against the Portland Pilots, which was just downright inexplicable, a below 500 Portland team. Now, they were able to rebound. They absolutely throttled Oregon State in the follow-up, winning that one by 20, and then beat up on Wazoo in the next game, winning by 30. Now, they got a tough couple of games upcoming. Santa Clara on the road, Herb Sendek's bunch, teetering right now on whether they're going to be in or out of the at-large field. On the latest edition of the Bracket Big Board, I have the Broncos, Steve Nash U, as the first team out of the projected NCAA field. And then they're, playing at St. Mary's the last game of the year. We know that St. Mary's grinds you. They live in the half court. Randy Bennett's teams always are high in executioners in terms of their offensive game plan and flow. Very stiff and stout defensively as well. I have the Zags projected right now as the highest number 4 seed on the latest Bracket Big Board. Let's say they win out. They get the automatic berth at a WCC. They will probably be a high-end number 3 seed. Now, if they lose a couple of games down the home stretch, it can maybe slide as far as a number 5 seed. Again, they have decent guard play, not extraordinary guard play. Graham Ike is awesome, one of the best pivot men in all of college basketball. And Braden Huff, I should say, is going to be back hopefully here in another week or two. And he's a key cog for this entire team, given his size, beating in the inside-outside game. And we'll see what the draw is, but I'm going to be reluctant to march them on anything beyond the first weekend. They get a tough draw in the NCAA tournament. The Zags could exit stage left in the round of 32.
Ooh, Brad Evans with us here talking college hoops on You Better You Bet. The chat that we have here on the show, I saw our boy Kenny throw up the idea of Iowa State. They're 14-1 on the national championship board right now at BetMGM, and they look dominant at times. They have a great ability to create chaos, and they didn't do that. They created too much of their own chaos against TCU the other night. And again, I think it's a question for me of, are those dents in the armor that we're seeing for teams that we thought weren't flawless necessarily, but were as close as you can get to flawless? Do they start to show up late in the year in conference play? I mean, they've still got Kansas, Houston, BYU all left on the regular season schedule. And the Big 12 tournament could be brutal, not even including the LED light-up floor. But Iowa State, legit title contender and a team that can get its act together before the Big 12 tournament, make some noise there, and put themselves in a good position going into the NCAA tournament.
They have a seat at the table, but I have my reservations. I have my doubts. Look at the lopsided record they have right now in the Big 12, and it's rough and tumble. It's mighty conference. I think it's the best conference in the land. 8-3 is an outstanding mark, to say least, in that category. But they really beat up on the dregs of the keg in that league over the first 11 games. The likes of Baylor, the likes of Oklahoma State, not once but twice. Colorado, Kansas State, Baylor is way down this year. So the 3 L's they do have against stiffer foes, losing at TCU, which is a bit of a surprise. The offense non-existent in that game on Tuesday. They lost on the road against Cincinnati, a team that's playing outstanding defense right now. And then they lost at KU. So losing at Kansas there. Yeah, and you mentioned it, man. The next 3 games, whoo, daddy, is that a rough and tumble road? Kansas, Houston, BYU. Oh, and not to mention, too, they have Texas Tech left, though that one in Ames. And then they got to go on the road in Tucson on March the 2nd to take up a matchup against the Arizona Wildcats. I think a correction is on the immediate horizon. They are a cohesive bunch, not a particularly deep team. Momcilovic really makes his team tick with his arcsmanship, one of the best arc assassins in the game when he has been on, but he's been largely cold here of late. They didn't get it done at the charity stripe, and they haven't really done that all season. They're only shooting 67% on their freebies, and that's going to be something that's going to rear its ugly head in a close game in a single elimination format. So I have Iowa State projected right now as a number 2 seed. As a betting man, I could see them sliding to as far down as a number 4 by Selection Sunday. More than likely going to land in the middle there. It is a number 3, but that's another team that could be susceptible to an early round knockout because they're not slamming the door on opponents in some of these tight games. And as the stakes ratchet up, as the competition ratchets up deeper as you get in the in-state tournament, the tougher it is for Iowa State to conquer that foe.
Before I let you run, Brad, in about a minute if you can, one team we haven't talked about yet that you absolutely love as we enter the final few weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. Wisconsin. Look, I'm a diehard Illinois fan, and this Wisconsin team, I have projected right now as a number 8 seed. I think they're going to land on the number 7 line come Selection Sunday. That is a team. If you were a number 2 seed in whatever region you're placed, you do not want to see. As we've seen consistently, number 2 seeds exit stage left by the end of the first weekend. Wisconsin could be that giant killer. They beat Illinois on the road. They beat Michigan on the road. They have 2 dynamite guards in Boyd and Blackwell, and they're playing better defensively, and they really make it rain from outside. 51% of their hoists coming from 3, so don't sleep on Bucky Badger.
I love it. Brad Evans of BetMGM tonight. Check him out at thegamingjuice.com as well. He and Pat Boyle every night from 6 to 11 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports with BetMGM tonight. Enjoy the hoops, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Adios, amigos. I can't wait till March gets here.